Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for asking.
I'm right. I'm all right. I think this is time, right?
It is 6 p.m. here in the U.S.,
Uh-huh. Okay.
and I just put the information, posted the information on the New African Network for any of the members to join.
Okay.
We'll give them a few minutes to get set up, and also give me 1 second as well, please. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Walking
Thank you so much for coming, and good morning to me. Good afternoon or good evening to you guys in East or in America. Again, my name is Imani Hanipower. I'm talking to you from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and today we're going to be discussing about a lot of topics around it, but we're going to be focusing on mainly on DRC, Congo, and Rwanda. There is a conflict that's going on in DRC and Rwanda that has been around. Actually, it's not something new. So today we're gonna be looking into the conflict, and we are also gonna touch some of the topics regarding people in America, especially Black people, my people in US and around the globe. So again, thank you so much for coming. We are always live at 6 p.m. in Washington DC time on Saturday, and we are also live on Sunday 6 p.m. in East Africa time. Most of time in that time we go by Kiswahili language. Thank you so much for coming. Brother Eugene, how is going over there?
Thank you, Brother Ramani, and peace and blessings to all of our brothers and sisters throughout the African diaspora. I'm Brother Eugene Talford, reporting live from Charlotte, North Carolina. Brother Amani and I have been strong partners for several years now, advocating the unification of Black people united worldwide. And this is a platform that allows Black people to be themselves, to open up and dialogue about all the things that are happening in and around where we live at today. And of course, this is a platform for us to be able to be enlightened about many of the news that is being broadcast in Black nations worldwide. So thank you for having me on the platform this evening. And yes, everything is going along pretty good here in the United States. There's been much talk about many of the things that have been taking place, not just only here in the US with Black people, but also worldwide. And the Congolese and the Rwanda movement that has been taking place, the conflict, certainly has been going on for many years now, but we're hoping to enlighten our people about the real aspects of what's happening behind the scenes to be able to bring vital news and broadcast to the Black communities. So welcome and peace and blessings.
Thank you. Brother Bishop,
Amen. God bless you, everyone. You know, I'm with the Hebrew Apostolic Society, and I've been different works with cultural exchange, bringing Africans, my major focus, along with propagating the true knowledge of the word from its scriptural perspective, and in a position to connect with other like-minded people so that we get this history and to empower our people so that we can begin to reclaim ours and begin to educate the people that everybody have seen that is people of color are not all on the same. Educate our brothers and sisters so that we learn to walk together in unity and set in power. So welcome, and I thank you for inviting me again to sit on the panel, and may Yahweh continue to bless you and keep you.
Thank you so much for that. I hear you touch about Hebrew, something that is one of the topic maybe I will take time to discuss about because a lot of information I may have, maybe a lot of people don't have it, but there is one book I was reading, it's called Murano, something like that. The Muranos, something like that. Yeah, is a book written about the Spanish Inquisition. And you guys, if you know, Murano actually is a Spanish word to mean black people. Yeah,
oh,
so
you're talking about maroon. Maroon.
No, it's not maroon, it's Murano.
Murano.
Yeah, the Moranos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so anyways, yeah, there is a lot of information need to be talked about when it comes to the Hebrews and all those called the Israelis and black people in general, because obviously our public education don't talk about what we really need to know, and it's part of our identity. So if they will ever touch that, maybe someone will say, hey, I didn't know that was about me. So anyhow, so let me go over a little bit about Rwanda and Congo, because a lot of people talk about the conflict, they talk today, but they do not really know what's happened and why this is keep coming on and on. So the conflict of Rwanda and Congo is actually not the conflict that is very young, because it dates back to the colonial time when Belgium cut big chunk of Congo, and King Leopold, I don't know if it's Leopold. Or
Leopold.
Yeah, Leopold, he decided to cut his trunk that he was interested in, and he owns it. By the way, that is the first place where we have black genocide possibly documented in Africa. Black genocide has been happening with black people in the American continent for a long time. So that one we don't really we will not count that in that sense, because it's still happening. So it is difficult to say. It's difficult to claim that because it's still going on. So we still have black genocide going on over there, but that was the first black genocide happened in Africa, on the motherland. So and then when he cut the trunk, he actually took people who have been themselves as the kings and the queens and kingdoms, and then he took some from Zambia, he took some from Angola, he took some from Burundi, he took some from everywhere, and then he put together, and then he ran that, and he cut people's hand, as you guys you already know about that. So after that, then it comes to the time of when Germany lost in World War I. So at this time, this point, so we have a problem, because Germany once it lost, it could not keep its colonies. So and then so the place that was owned by Germany, it have to be given to some other countries in the area, which was one of them was England, that was already running Uganda. Was running Uganda and Kenya, so now they have to take the Germany own places such as Tanzania. They give it to England, and then they took the part that was in hands of Germany in Burundi specifically, and then they give that to Belgium, and then they took another part that was owned by German again, and they give that to which country again? They give that to Belgium. So the area that was owned by Rwanda, they give to Belgium, and then the area that was owned by Burundi, they also give to Belgium. That was owned by Germany, they give to Belgium. Now, the conflict comes in because when they cut the kingdom of Rwanda, the land of kingdom of Rwanda, that's why you see Rwanda is so small, as you can see on map here, very, very small, to the point that you can't even figure out where it is. It's because the land that Rwanda is supposed to have, it went in Congo with the people. So the Rwandese, almost like the whole kingdom, is in Congo, in Eastern Congo. And also the land of the people of Burundi also, that is supposed to have Burundi, as you know, or you can, I don't know if you can see that on small map here, that's Burundi.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have the small place also that is in Congo, but supposed to be in the kingdom of Burundi, or supposed to be on Burundi country today. But also another part, another trunk of Burundi end up in Western Tanzania, because when they cut the Germany colony, they took the whole thing. They did not want to give whole Burundi the way it was to Belgium, because it was going to be too big for Belgium. So they cut the piece of it and then they give to Tanzania. So whole Western Tanzania is in Burundi. It was Burundi that time. So now when you take people with the same culture, same history, same language, who've been together, and then you put in one side of the country, you automatically causing problem already. But a little furthermore, because even though we have Burundi people or who's supposed to be in Burundi, but in Tanzania, they have never been fighting. The reason why the Rwandese problem is still going on is because the colonizers, they still have something they're looking from Congo. So Congo has been involved in conflict with Burundi, Rwanda, South Sudan, Uganda, and possibly Tanzania have now go there to fight like that, but they also been involved in the situation, and Angola. So you can see that Angola is in this part in south, here in southwest. All the map you see is that is in Angola there. Now, so why then is the situation is like that? One is that, as you guys know, when the Germans, they come to Africa, they create this Hutu and Tutsi things they always talk about. You guys, you know that Hutu and Tutsi, they are not ethnics at all. It was created by white people to be able to control, to know who they can keep in power and who they cannot keep in power, which is what you guys sometimes make whole white Negro, inside the Negro and outside the Negro, or in-house Negro and outside or in the field Negro. I don't know which one you guys use, but you understand my point there. So they create those ethnics to be able to found the in-house Negro and the field Negro, or just regular Negro who go out there and work. So and then after that, it comes to the point when people start to get independence, and when they start to get independence, but still, as you guys know, in Congo there is natural resources. So it doesn't matter what happened. At the end of the day, the Western or anyone now even China, they only look to get something from any country, especially natural resource raw materials, without paying. That's how they try their best to do. So and there is no other way around to be able to do that unless they use either they will use the Congolese leader to control natural resources, or they will use other neighbor countries to actually be able to control, to take the natural resources. You guys remember the first president, supposed to be president of Congo DRC, Patrice Lumumba. He was the first one to be assassinated. In fact, I believe he may be the first one who was assassinated in Africa for the African liberation. So in 1961, he was already being assassinated. Before even some of a lot of countries in Africa, they gained their own independence. Patrice Lumumba was already being assassinated because they look on Congo as a place where that they don't want, they have to be sure that they know exactly what is going on in that place. So now, after that, they assassinated Patrice Lumumba, very, very bad. And then they come around and then they establish their own government, or the government that will give them whatever they want to get from the country, Congo. That's how you see we get, what was his name, Mobutu Sese Seko, whom they used for a whole time to actually take all natural resources for corruption. He was the most of corrupted person when it comes to the finances and taking the money out of Africa. And he took all the money from African continent, and then he built a lot of buildings, a lot of schools and hospitals in Spain. And then after that, they use him, as you know, then they start to see that they don't want him. So they do not want him. And so now it's time to change him. And these people, as you know, when you serve the devil, you always end in bad shape. Okay, it doesn't matter what. We saw that with the D-Boys. We'll talk about him actually later on. We saw about this, about who also, Jesse Jackson, Jesse Louis Jackson. They use him to knock down so many people. Many all those you guys you call coons. At the end of the day, when they finish to use you, they will throw you under bus, or they will throw you in trash. One of those two. So then you will end up to try to figure out to come back to your own people that you have already been betrayed for a long time. So now, when Mobutu Sese Seko Banga was, he was a full dictator. Actually, he killed anyone who comes in his way. But Western media, they will never talk anything about that, which is in fact is what is going on in many countries in Africa, like Cameroon. Cameroon, they have a president for 35 years for now, and then the Western will never say anything. Until when they see they feel to use him, then you will hear them talking he's a dictator, or maybe, hopefully he's gonna be there until when he dies. Maybe, I don't know, he's gonna be the puppet forever. So now when it's time to change Mobutu Sese Seko, they created a system where they have to go through the war in Rwanda. That's when the genocide happened in Rwanda. So it was fighting between what they call Hutu and Tutsi. The Hutu was on power already, supported by France, Belgium, and Canada. And also inside Africa, they were also supported by Congo DRC. But so that means that France was able to take everything from Congo using Rwanda, and then they take everything. And then whereas the other part, which was the rebels, a lot of people don't talk about this history. There was England, US with Clinton, and then there was some other Western countries, but most of the time it was British with Tony Blair and Clinton of US. They were supporting rebels. Now inside Africa, they had more countries than France and Belgium and Canada. Inside Africa, there was Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya, and some other countries were behind, specifically Uganda and Tanzania. They were behind those rebels who are today on power. And then, so they finished with the genocide. The war ended up with the genocide, and after that, they went to Congo, and then they overthrow, or they changed the government, and then they Mobutu Sese Seko, who they have been using, he died. After he died, all the money, everything he has never come back to Congo. He did not even come to his family. His family, I hear that one of his son is actually homeless in Europe country, I think it's France, something. And the Minister of Defense of Rwanda became the Minister of Defense of Congo. This is documented historically as a fact. No one can refuse that. And then they went in Congo. They took whoever they can take, and then they disrupted the country. And then since in Congo there is already Rwandese who already live there, they start to help them. But also these Rwandese who live in Congo, who end up in Congo, they don't have a freedom as well. The other Congolese, the other ethnics in Congo has more than 500 ethnics. So they don't believe, or they don't agree that those guys are actually Congolese. Despite that they are living in Congo, it doesn't even matter. Even if you migrate to a country as an African, you actually from there, because this is one house with different rooms. Okay, you can't tell someone that you are an immigrant in a country that we did not even make the borders ourselves. It's white men made the borders. So anyways, so from that time, they have been in war fighting between the Rwandese speaking people who are in Congo, who are Congolese. They want to be called Congolese. They want to have freedom and to be liberated, or to be accepted as Congolese. And then other ones, they say, no, you guys are Rwandese. You just came here not long ago, something like that. Nobody ever knows, because we don't have a documentation of who was there when the Belgium was running Congo. We don't know if they were even there. We don't know if they left. They went after that. Nobody knows. But when I talked to some of them, they said that we were there from like around the 17th century. We don't know. But other Congolese, they say, no, we don't have any documentation of Rwandese speaking people in Congo. But also there is Burundi speaking or Kirundi speaking people in Congo as well. And there is also Uganda speaking people, Kiganda, whatever it is, in Congo. So everyone is in Congo because Congo is very big. So that is pretty much how the conflict of Congo has been. But every time there is something, either it is Rwanda involved in that conflict in Congo, or is Uganda involved in that conflict, or is Burundi involved in that conflict, or South Sudan involved in that conflict, because each one of those countries, they're trying to steal from Congo, actually. That's the whole problem. And the Congolese, because Congo is too big, even the president don't know whatsoever where he is. You know, you guys, you don't understand this. There's a place in Congo, people have never seen a car. They never see a car because there is no road to go there to take cars. But they see airplanes because the airplane comes and land there, or helicopters, and take natural resources and go. As you guys, you may have heard about Dr. Arikana Chombo called Mama Africa. She talked about this before she get fired, because that's the whole game, is that countries go to Congo to steal everything from Congolese, and Congolese people are suffering. Even here in Ethiopia, we have so many refugees. We have so many people who live here in Ethiopia who are from Congo but has nothing. So now, what can we say? Do we gonna say that the conflict is, the problem is a Congo, is Rwanda, or do we gonna say that the problem is Burundi, or the problem is Congo? No, absolutely not. The problem or the solution, it should be taken to which one, It should be taken to the unity. The everlasting solution for the conflict in Congo does not need negotiation or fighting or dividing even Congo. Some people, they say that why don't they take this eastern of Congo and then give them their own countries? We can't keep doing this again, over and over again. We saw that in Ethiopia and Eritrea, the division did not go well. We saw this in South Sudan and Sudan. The division did not go well. And we see that even in Somalia. Somalia, I think Somaliland now has its own passport, even though United Nations has not recognized the country. But we can't keep doing this. Absolutely is nonsense, because next time another ethnic will want to have their own country. So, and also we cannot keep the way it is today. We cannot do that because one, they will always be fighting. Rwanda or Uganda or any other country will always want something from Congo. But also even like Angola or whatever country will want something from Congo. So the best way is to just take the initial and unite those countries. If we were united as Patrice Lumumba wanted, this conflict will not rise again at all. If Rwanda and Congo and Burundi and Kenya and Uganda and we had United States of Africa in general, Rwanda will not go to steal from Congo, or Congo will not be fighting with Rwandese, or Burundi will not go to steal anything from Congo or Uganda. Uganda is most of the time finger-pointed country that always steal from Congo DRC. So I think this is one of the things that people do not want to discuss about, but we have to cure the problem from the roots. And the roots is the colonization and division that we were put on our shoulders by colonizers. That is the one is making us to be in the situation we are today. I don't know if I missed anything, but if you guys you have any question on that, you can always ask me.
No, you can continue, brother. Thank you.
So you guys, you understand where the conflict came from. It's all created conflict. It's absolutely, even all these things they talk about, ethnics, I don't know, whether it's just created conflict or ethnics, it was never be there at all. So, and the other people, they talk about like Kenya is trying to fix the situation by sending a military there, but people are now pointing out that, hey, these people also, they are coming here to get something, because you cannot really, anyone who goes in Congo, obviously, they are looking for something. Either they are looking for power, political power, controlling, or they may be looking for something different. But so who knows what? But also the other things I want to mention is that you guys, you saw the map of Congo. Congo joined actually East Africa community last year. Late last year, Congo joined East Africa community because one, they are East African, even though Congo goes over to West Africa and to the west side of African continent, but it is in East Africa. And also there is more than 500 languages that are spoken in Congo, but mainly the language that is spoken, the first language is spoken in Congo is Kiswahili. So Congolese people do speak Swahili, another language in Congo. The population does speak Swahili, especially in the whole eastern Congo, where I'm pointing, the whole eastern Congo. All this is just Swahili people speaking. I think that's possibly why we'll possibly stop when it comes to Congo. So if it's next time someone come and say, hey, what is the problem in Congo? Why there is never been a problem, never been a peace in Congo? Why people in Congo are suffering? Just realize that the reason why is because of natural resources that you guys already know, because everything we are using now, if there was no Congo, these things will not work. My laptop will not work, my camera will not work, your phone will not work, nothing will work, your TV will not work. So that's one of the things as we as the Black people must understand. And we as Black people as well, we have failed completely to actually protect our Africa 100%, and also to provide security, but also to provide reward for those who are doing very well. So why do you think any leader will want to do good if they are not going to be protected? You know, why do you think is that? There is no need, because if someone take themselves and trying to do what is good for Africa, nobody protect them, they end up to be killed or to be assassinated, as we saw over and over again. So pretty much, I think that's all I want to say about the Congo. But what can you guys do now? Obviously, is to emphasize the idea of unity, because Pan-Africa is the only solution. Now, by the way, I don't like to use the word Pan-Africa. I always use African nationalists because Pan-Africa is Greek things. You know, this Pan things is not African. Okay, Pan is a god of Greeks. It's not god of Africa or African. So I don't want to say that, but that's what it is. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna start from there, and then I will go to next topic, unless you guys have any comment.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely want to inform some of our brothers and sisters who were our great leader, Patrice Amir Lumumba, who this person was and why was he so great in our time today as a African leader. Patrice was born in July 25th. He was born July 2nd, 1925, and he was murdered January 17th, 1961. He was a Congolese politician, independent leader who served as a prime minister of the Democratic Republic of Congo, then known as just the Congo, from June until September 1960. Following May 1960 election, he was known to be a great leader. He was the leader of the Congolese National Movement, which is the MNC, from 1958 until his death in 1961. The leader himself, his ideology of African nationalists, and as just like Brother Monty said a few seconds ago about being a Pan-Africanist, he played a significant role in transforming the Congo from a colony of Belgium to an independent republic. Shortly after the Congolese independence, June 1960, mutiny broke out, and out of that, armed forces marking the beginning of the Congolese crisis. Lumumba appealed to the United States and the United Nations to help suppress the Congolese crisis. Lumumba appealed to the Congolese people to put themselves in a position to govern themselves in such a crisis. And both refused to do the United States and Belgium to give him support, and due to suspicions among the Western nations, the Western world, Lumumba secretly held a pro-communist view on helping to reform. And with this suspicion, it deepened the animosities that occurred between the Congolese and the Western nations. And with the Soviet Union being involved for his asking the Soviet Union for assistance, the CIA described the classic communist takeover. They led to growing differences by the president, Joseph Kasa Vubu, and the chief staff, Joseph Desire Mobutu, as was the United States and Belgium, who opposed the Soviet Union, and thus the Cold War was in escalation. After Mobutu military coup, Lumumba attempted to escape to Stanville to join the support and establish a anti-Mobutu rival state called the Free Republic of Congo. Lumumba was captured and imprisoned, and en route by state authorities under Mobutu. He handed over Kangagi, Kantaga authorities and was executed in the presence of Kinkada and the Belgian officers. His body was thrown into a shallow grave, but later dug up and destroyed. Following the execution, he was widely seen as a martyr for the wider Pan-African movement. Over the years, inquiries have shed light on the events surrounding Lumumba's death, and particularly the roles that the Belgium and the United States had played in his death. The Belgians formed apologies. The Belgians in 2002 submitted a statement of apology for their role in his execution. And in 2002, a gold capped tooth that remained of Lumumba from his body was repatriated to the Democratic Congo by the Belgians. And so that lets you know the type of vicious and the wicked people that govern people. And sometimes we don't get the full story about why it is that they continue to destroy African leaders. These are the same people that have destroyed our leaders right here in the United States, ranging from Martin Luther King to Malcolm X to all of them. And as you can see, anytime we rise up to put ourselves in a place of power or a position to be recognized as being human beings, we always get these type of wicked beasts that rise up to cut us down. And this is certainly a situation that is continuing to go on in the country of Rwanda and in the Congo right now. It is a jockey for power. It is a jockey for land and resources, but it's also a jockey for the people themselves to keep our people mentally enslaved. So what do we do about it? We are a new breed leader African generation that have a vast information system that allows us to look in the past to see what took place, but also it is there also to make sure that we don't make the same mistakes as what our ancestors had gone through. It's like Brother Monty said, there were many Germans at the time, Nazis and the KKK, and I certainly want to let the people know prior to World War I and II, and even up until today, the US KKK and the Nazi regimes, they still have a great relationship. It has not gone anywhere, and these people constantly put in place atrocities to continue to destroy the unification of the black man and the black woman coming together, uniting. So what do we do in this day and time? It is certainly time for Black revolution. It is certainly a day in time for real Black revolution. And I know this sounds very scary to those who have not had the auspice of enlightening themselves of what the true root of the black man and the black woman's problem is on earth these days. But we are a smart and very intelligent people, and we are people who have no longer have the wool pulled over our eyes to see exactly who is causing these problems. Now, we're going to have to bust a whole lot of black heads in order to get to the root of the problem as well. And I know that's hard to fathom between when we speak about the unification of black people, but certainly there have been many black people who have caused the problems that are in the black community today. Sometimes it's because of greed and selfishness, but a lot of times this is orchestrated by our oppressors, and the oppressors have no boundaries. So therefore, Yes, let's start to come together to figure out what it is that we can do to solve many of our problems. Now, I know this sounds hard and very harsh to a lot of people, but our brothers and sisters, we pick up guns every day, walk outside, and kill another black man or black woman for something that does not have any value, validity, or even a purpose. So you should be able to do the same thing to those you know exactly who are causing our problems. This is where black power come into play. We speak about this quite often. Our brothers and sisters over in Africa, not all of them are suffering at the magnitude of what we see what's going on in Rwanda and in the Congolese, but it's certainly a position of jockeying for power. Now we have the Westerners and we have the Chinese, the Arabs. They are going there to continue to put us against one another so that they can carry out the agenda of continuing to rape the continent for their own personal gain and use. That resource, that continent belongs to the black man and the black woman. That continent belongs to African people, period. Therefore, we must begin to put ourselves in a position as a new breed leader, African generation, to safeguard those things that have been given to us by our ancestors. If Africa does well, all black people, wherever they may be at worldwide, will do well. And when we begin to learn that the unification of us has been certainly at the top of the agenda of the oppressors to keep us divided, once we understand this, that the boundaries that were put in place in all the African nations have been put in place by white people. They knew nothing about Africa. The invaders come there to destroy our God-given rights. When we realize this and are ready to make a move to safeguard this, then we shall do better. I yield the floor. Black Power.
Thank you. Black Power. Thank you. Thank you so much, Brother Eugene, for giving us the background of Patrice Emery Lumumba and the Katanga situation. By the way, until today I'm talking to you, Katanga still want to be a separate country from Congo. They are fighting, in fact, to be their own independence. So, and the thought you bring up about African revolution, I don't think we need another revolution unless the revolution is focusing on uniting Africa, because we don't want to keep our people dying on and on, over and over again on the same thing. If we put, like, well,
I'm not talking about a revolution where black people are revolutioning against each other. I'm talking about a revolution where we revolutionize against the West and the powers of oppression. See, that's where we get it twisted at. See, well, we're willing to pick up the sword and the gun to die for nations that we've been oppressed by, but we're not willing to pick up the guns and liberate ourselves from the oppressors, if you get what I'm saying. So the confusion comes here. It comes from slave mentality. It also comes from a colonized mind, whereas we see each other as being the enemies and not our oppressors, because there is a barrier that separates us from getting to the truth of the matter. I feel that revolution comes in many forms. It can come from the ballot, it can come from the bullet, but it also comes from the liberation of the mind itself, where once you realize where the problems come from, if you're not willing to solve the problem, then therefore oppression will continue to exist. So we
That's
must
right.
be strong enough to understand also that the religious principles that we have been taught from a religious standpoint of view to be forgiving and docile and turn the other cheek. And this is no longer the case with the truth being prevailed. God doesn't want us to be oppressed, neither do he want us to continue to wander in the wilderness. And Brother Powell and myself had talked about this earlier this week. And Brother Williams had talked about this earlier in the week. We can no longer afford to be in the position that we're in. So if you want to see about change, those black people, we black people need to unify. No other option. It's not always about the skin color. It's not about the resources, and it's not about the money. It's about standing up for yourselves when you know where the problems are coming from. We know this. It's nothing new. It's been going on for 500 years or more. When does it end? What generation comes along to end this? So now it is our generation. We are the first generation to really be able to see ourselves in a position of putting ourselves into power. We can't afford to continue to be as our ancestors, the things that our ancestors have went through with these white people. And let's just get to the point, because you know sometimes black people scared to talk about white people. I'm not, because I'm up to here with the bull. And when it gets down to the real root of our black problems, the finger always point back to them. And he say, well, they hadn't done anything to us for a very long time. They don't beat us over the head with clubs. And that's a lie. I see black men, specifically black men, I see them dying every day. As a Black Panther, I get phone calls every day about some white person has done something to some black person, whether it's physical or mentally. We need to stop playing. It's just the truth of the matter. We need to stop playing with the bullshit and get real about what it is that we need to do. Many of these politicians that we elect to office, whether they are black or white, they need to be put out. If they can't give the people what the people need, they need to go. And specifically our black leaders, who we call our black leaders, they're not our black leaders. They're not leading for the black people. They don't even care about the real black people. All they care about is how many votes that they can get. And then when they get into these positions in Babylonians' offices, then they realize that they're very limited to what they can do, even to what they can say, or even if they have things on their heart and their minds that they really want to tell the people, they can't tell them because they're scared. You don't have to be scared no more, people. Scared days are gone. If you're scared, sit on the sideline and let the brothers and sisters who want to do the work, who want to do about change and revolution, let these brothers and sisters go on and do it. Black power.
Now, I commend you on the what's going to use the passion behind the and there are several things that we need to be aware of. And when it comes from the church's perspective, the infiltration of mingled teachings of what has been cross-continent from the era of time after the Messiah, and that lingers into the day, created a whole generation of people. And as you said, that just the colonizers, the white supremacists that we are having to deal with, because that same teaching has brought about a different attitude where we can't even trust our own sisters to be able to take a stance, to be in a position to know how to approach what has to be approached, to begin a revolution, to begin a change. So we look at religion, me being a bishop, and where it has brought us from, Atlantic slave trade. We understand and we know that the Portuguese, French, Spanish, all of the colonizers introduced and came into the prospect of doing slavery. This so at the perils of human life and the deception of paying that were African, and paid that they were mistreating and treating black in a less humane condition, or less humane approach to their ideology of what slavery was, to keep, and in the name of Christianity, they did what they had to do to keep it, so that those who had been proselytized into the faith would continue to support the faith, them being a Christian base by the order of Christ, and that what they were doing was justified based off of scriptural ban. It is not true. So we got a lot of brothers, even who are on police force. And we know here that the police, to round up slaves, that was their whole purpose, to keep in order slaves that were a system that was implemented not by us, but by them, and for the purpose of economic empowerment and development. Somehow or another, whether by greed or it's hard to tell, maybe a combination of all things, feel as though if I play the role, I'll be accepted. Will not be accepted. No, you will not be embraced. You go back and check history. There have been black officers who've been accosted by white police officers. So what makes you think anything has changed since the day of the dawn that we have become aware of our oppressors and have begun to take a stance enough? As I mentioned earlier in the week, way that we can really move forward to be effective. I mean, we've done riots and protests. We've done our share of burnings of aiming. We're still in the same situation where nothing's changed. So there must be something that's not being done in order to bring about a proper change of protocol. It's an awakening that will bring us to a place where first and not killing ourselves, and then secondly, understand how to proceed methodically forward motion of achieving our goals to make an impact both in our community, first in our homes, community, then in the nation, and then, and Africa's already in the movement. They've already begun. And I was disheartened to hear about, I don't know his position, Ojanga, who wants to end the nationality in Tanzania so that they could, quote unquote, learn better. And my position is the queen is dead. Let the dead, it's time for a change in the regime. Why take away the for a culture that is not your own, that you? So here's a black man promoting the dissolvement of his own cultural, which is language. I don't understand it. The things that are going on in the United States. And I look at all of the occurrences of history. Whenever there was a black man being lynched, he's a black man being used, the sheriff, the rounder-upper. And as whether it was the house Negro or the field Negro, whether it was by colorization, it was by favoritism, through economic prowess, there was always a control. They'll let you get so far and never high enough. When I look at Colin Powell, the first black force, boom, they pop up and give a white man the rank of a five-star general. Why couldn't you own and let one black man, the rest of you, of the white regime, and walk on the same plane as prejudice? Someone has always got in the head position, and according to their ideology, it's always, but we don't have to tolerate that anymore. He break roots. If we would understand where we are.
And I don't mean no disrespect to anybody here, but I want to.
My brother keeps going in and out.
Yeah, okay, yeah, no, I'm good. Sorry for that.
Yeah, that's okay, brother Monty. Go ahead and pray that brother Umar. When brother Williams get finished, go ahead and pray that brother Umar snippet if you have that available.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so,
go ahead.
So yeah. So as I said, my thoughts on in this fight, in this struggle, in this desire for reparation, approach for regaining one and authority. Beat them with the game or at their own. Tweeted earlier in the week. let us position where we find men and women are willing and who know where we stand historically, what needs to be done from a nonviolent perspective, because we've done all the violence and it's not got. And from the nonviolent perspective, we've made headways. But from the violent perspective, we've made headways. Violence brought about nonviolence brought about change by respect.
But we really
And
haven't had a violent movement yet, Brother Williams.
No, we've
had some protesting, and you can't equate a movement of revolution. You can't equate that with rioting, because rioting is a emotional prospect where you destroy property, but not getting at the real source of the problem. So when you talk about revolution, go ahead, brother. I'll let you speak. Go ahead.
This is where I was at. Okay. Speaking of Baltimore, when they killed Freddie Gray, lashed out in the community where the death of Freddie Gray occurred. My position is, why destroy your community? The officers who were white, brainwashed, influenced, raised up in prejudice, discrimination, don't live in the neighborhood. If you wanted to be an impact, you should have brought it to their, dragged them out, brought them into a place of justice, that they be prosecuted, demanded that they be charged, and that if change didn't occur, that then you was going to burn the city. And then we need to put judges that sit on the bench in the position of accountability. Because when you get charged, or when you receive a charge against an officer, the sentence, but you get the same judge sitting on a young black man or a young black woman who does a tort or infraction of the law, and they give them harsh. They need to be addressed as well. That's how the war should start. The neighborhood. I understand revolution. I understand civil war. I understand all of the changes that take place. We don't have to burn the city to achieve the outcome that we need to achieve. We need to be methodical. We need to be persistent and determined. And we need to be, while we bring you to freedom, if you start talking about turning back, you get the bullet in the forecast. And then you send the message. Then you figure out who the real folks are. Are you really about freedom, or you working spy for the oppressor? Move in that type of vein, we can begin to achieve certain mandates. As we all know through history, again, every time we reach a pinnacle in the statute of the law, they change the mandates, they change the statutes, laws. We need to find out who's doing the situation and to bring it into subjection. I yield my sister.
Well, I certainly think and feel that our ancestors, the ones that they even become before us, they've already gone through that. And it's certainly just been a run around the barn for many years. And then it gets back to the piece about, do you really want liberation, or do you just want equity on the plantation? So for us to speak about continuing to go into a peaceful manner, approach the situation with a peaceful manner. Our people have always done that. They've done that since the time of slavery. So what else do we have?
Well, I think
when you exalted all your resources of trying to be in the peaceful manner, and the oppressor cannot even see that as a diplomatic approach to a situation, what else do you have? There's nothing else left. And even when white America, when they wanted their independence from the United Kingdom or London, England, back during the time period of the revolution in the spirit of 1776, they had exhausted all their resources of trying to negotiate their independence from the statute. But when a people really want independence, it's going to come with a certain amount of bloodshed. And it's no ballot, or there's no reasoning to it. It's just the old regime has to be eliminated in order for a new control resource to come into play. And this is where black people are at today, right here in this nation. You know, the confusion comes with the capitalism system that we participate in. You know, we get a little house, you get a little car, have a little money in the bank, and it's comfortable, but that's all you have. And when you're looking for much more other than that, you have to be willing to place your bodies on the line in order to get that true and real independence. And that's something that we have not gotten to yet. And I understand, you know, they look at it and say, yeah, well, these are some better times than what our ancestors had. And certainly the racism is not what it was. It still exists. But, you know, the black community is the one that feel the blunt force of anything that this country is up against, whether it's from the ballot or economics or education. These things we're constantly challenged with all the time to help ourselves, to get ourselves to a point to where we can level up to be more proficient. Now, I tell you this now, once the black man get off the white man's balls, each will feel better, because the white man don't want to be no longer responsible for the atrocities that their ancestors had put in place against the Africans. They rather for us to be gone and out of here. And this is a point where we need to get ourselves in a position to be that as well. So you got one choice. You got two choices. Either, well, actually we got three. With the unification of us getting and picking up our resources and moving back to the lands of our ancestors without conflict of interest, that's a way that we can do it without bloodshed. But I can tell you this now, I'm not going to let you go freely. You ain't going to say, well, you black people, we're going to let all y'all go on. Y'all, if you get sick of us, you that sick of us, go on back to Africa, because they've been telling us that. Now, they don't tell you to go on back to Africa now because they want to get to Africa, because they know that's where all the resources and the mineral wealth is located, the land and the mineral wealth. So it's getting to a point to where if that doesn't work, I'm not going to let you go freely, then it's going to have to be bloodshed. They realized that with England. When we realize that sometimes that's what it takes, if that's what it's going to take, then that's when the real situation, that's when they're going to want to talk to you then. They're going to want to talk to you because they want to keep peace. But you got to show them that we've been peaceful and the time of being peaceful and docile is over. Now it's time to get to the real situation. And like I say, sometimes we get into a place where we get very complacent and relaxed, because black people, that's what slavery did to us. Slavery got us real complacent and relaxed and confused, and especially with the religious aspects of it, from the Christianity to Hebrew to Muslim, whatever you practice religion wise, that's put us in a place of being very docile and complacent. But when you really get into the depth of the scriptures themselves, God himself tells you sometimes that you will have to fight. We haven't got to that yet. Now we've become more freer in being able to say what we want and being able to voice your opinions as black people in this nation. But we really haven't gotten the satisfactory out of what we really are trying to get to. And it's not going to get better, because I look at the communities where we grew up at. Look at the communities they made. Gentrification is a prime example. Gentrification is run by the young white society, where they have moved into certain neighborhoods and built up and fixed up with all this so-called money that they say they can't give black people to fix up. But when you go into the black neighborhoods, our black neighborhoods still look like they did in the 1960s and the 70s. So you can't tell me they have been helping us, because they haven't. Education-wise, we've been brainwashed. And you got people like that Santos down there in Miami, in Florida, and don't even want black people. They when you get to the race-based theory of education, don't even want to teach their children about the black experience, and have a problem with that. I have a problem with that, and especially when it comes to not only talking about black history and learning about the very foundation of black people, and not having that as a part of the curriculum and the educational system. It is a situation where they're still trying to protect the best interest of their own people and not us. And that's not fair.
It all comes down to economics. Who's getting
education and economics? Education and economics are two different things. Education is about money, but economics is about money. Education is about learning and looking in and digging up the history and the background, or perhaps putting in educational measures to help a people advance. That's certainly not been the case with us. But when they have a conflict of why it is that they want us to learn, that's a problem.
No, education has two sides of the sword. One is for economic stability. Those two you can't get away with, because with advancement of economic stability. But with education also comes the awareness of oneself, his environment, where he's come from, and where he's got to go. Now, when I speak peacefulness, see, I think we got a mission on that, because when we talk about behavior and change of mindset, that a lot of things that need to have a takeover. We don't have time for it, but I want to just cap on this before I go to my main point. As far as where we are, just to change a behavior, you first got to identify what you behavior to look like. Then you have to be persistent. Every time you see the inappropriate behavior, you have to hit it hard. You got to deal with it. You got to deal with it with swift and rapid and in consequences. Whether it's a negative reinforcer, whatever that might bring about. Now I've studied the behavioralist way of being through sociology, and I've dealt with it in the educational system of school. I've used it to change behaviors of, children that were, and then I've learned that a lot of times the children weren't being disrupted. All right, but that's a different narrative. That's a different. Bottom line is to change behavior, to bring about form. We have to spot the problems, deal with them constantly on a regular basis with the same intensity, on a frequent, steady approach. So if we maintain that same pattern, whether it's to reinforce it, if it's a good behavior, if it's to punish it, if it's a negative behavior, we bring about change. Educating ourselves not only helps us in the sense of our, but it helps us to understand the disparities of the things that we're going through as it pertains to economic struggles and strikes. Let's face it. As we talk about Rwanda, Tanzania, Congo, the whole into Africa to rape the land. I like what Brother Imani said. And of all of the wealth, all of the resources, all of the minerals, and then they turned around and began to dump their waste, their toxics, as if Africa was a god. Watch this. As Africans, we got to stop and ask ourselves, who's letting them come in and do this? Then we got the wrong people in office. I don't care if you're in Africa, if you're in America. I don't care if you got people who are violating the sanctity of the people and the rights of the people as a civilization, and you're allowing folks to come in and decimate your environment and where you live and dwell. Any actions to bring about a proper recourse, then you're a part of the problem. Because to be quiet is to give way to the person who is doing the destruction. We talk about people who don't vote. Don't think that your vote don't count, because and not to vote is to give leverage to the people who already are assuming that you're not going to vote, and they have it counted in that this is the percentage. Those that didn't vote are really saying they vote for us. Remaining votes are our way. The other thing is that if we could begin to have, I know my history and I know my law. Case study. O.J. Simpson supposedly killed his wife and a faggot. I'm going to call it just like that. I don't care how many people care. Here it is. Well, they acquitted him on both deaths. What's his name? Goldman.
Goldsberg or something like that. Yeah, Goldman.
Yeah, gold diggers. What did they do? They couldn't put him on a criminal civil. And what happened with the civil? The judge awarded down $1. Hello there.
We're listening. We are talking you.
But at the same, that family wasn't warranted. They were allotted. How you gonna come into a man who's been acquitted of civil justice when the criminal just innocent. That's because
it doesn't make any sense.
Right. That's because the judge was not held to a higher standard because he was raped. And so the truth becomes the light, but nobody addressed the issue to bring pressure to the judge. Nobody sought to overturn the decision because all the country had been bamboozled to believe OJ was guilty. And even today, people believe OJ is guilty, when in fact, that man had nothing to do with that woman's death. And she was a slut, a drug addict, and a... Secondly, when we talk about obtaining the wealth, when the children of Israel, the Hebrew people, religion, because Islam comes from Ishism, comes from Isaac. Both of them are Hebrews. So we are Hebrew people who believe by faith and the came and shed his blood. As you said, every change comes about with blood. He shed his blood to have redemption out of this darkened and black mindset and behavior of society. So what did Moses do? He goes to Pharaoh, let my people go. Going to these people that are oppressing us and saying, let my people go. Never did it. What happens? All kinds of hell break loose. Every kind of natural disaster that you can imagine begins. Egypt. I tell people, we in America are, and we're still in bondage. We will be the ones that won't have to say, look, we're leaving. You came here uninvited, and we were here from the very beginning. Now it is time, and as a matter of fact, you need to pay us, file our civil charges, our criminal charges, laws, which actually come from our law, the Hebrew law, and we're going to put you in a position where you got to compensate us for every wrong thing you've done any wrong. And that's why you've never paid any reparation, and you only doubts to bring about passivity among the people to keep them quiet. Not taking that anymore. It's an all or nothing. So now with that being, why not chase them out of this country? Why not chase out of Africa? Somebody to say, hey, look, let's pack up all their doo-doo and dirty stuff that they've left and send it right back to where it came from. Europe, Spain, France, Portugal. Put it right back in their country. Now, that's the war because when they realize, hey, they're not taking our crap no more, complication will begin to manifest, the burning. Yeah, then you'll see but guess what? When we begin to and come back together as a people, we'll find out between black and brown people of all over the world, not the minority. And we need to bring up someone 20, I think it's 20 or 2040, will be at the rate that we're interbreeding. There'll be more blacks, there will be whites. especially in the United States. And they know this. They're afraid. So why burn the city down now to bring about the point for bring about a civil war, when all we got to do is put the pressure to them, bring about, file suit against them criminally and civilly. Every time they try to escape or to change the narrative, embarrass them, bring them out in open, remove them from their position, prevent them from being hired or to another similar job in another state or another county or another country.
I think there is one point you making. I want to address that. When you talk about that Black people will be majority in maybe in next 20 years, it doesn't matter if we are majority or minority, they always rule. So regardless that whether you will be majority or minority in America, we are a minority in Africa, they are a minority in South Africa, but they're still having 80% of everything in South Africa. So the problem does not lie on numbers. In fact, the problem lies on the systems.
Yes.
Let me tell you. Let me share something with you little quickly. Actually, give me a second. I think this one here. Give me a second. Let me play this video. I always love to play it.
But every store was owned by us. Today, all that's gone. We have not made advancements. We have gone backwards. And right now, we live under the illusion of making progress. We are starting to become cogs in the system. That's where I'm going with this. Just give me time to build it up. I'm going somewhere with this here. This is Philosophical Friday. You know, for the people that mess with this channel, but this is the kind of things. Let me get to where I'm going with this. I don't want to talk about women. Let me break this down for you. Let's start with the school. If you build a school, but all you teach is the same curriculum that's accredited and allowed by them, because what you don't understand is that you could build a private school, but the curriculum that you teach has to be accredited. Otherwise, your children, the children that go to their school, will not be recognized as having gone to a real school, which means technically by laws of most states, the parents are in violation of the law and can be arrested because the children are not attending a real school. So under the system, it don't matter if a school is built, created, managed, and taught by blacks. It still have to be approved by whites. Yeah. What you teach still have to be approved by whites. So it don't matter if you build a school. The first thing they heard, the first thing they believe is that they are inferior. And they're going to spend the rest of their lives trying to change that. They're going to spend the rest of their lives trying to prove to whites that they can be better than just the average black person. You do that. Don't matter who owns the school. It don't matter who created the school. It don't matter. You still have to teach a certain curriculum because we are within their system.
That's right.
Now let's go to banking and finance and all this stuff. Again, who controls the financial system? Playing within it is not changing it. Listen, let me slow down. I get passionate about this shit. Let me slow down. Anybody of any degree of intelligence should know that you cannot beat someone at their own game and within a game that they control totally. I'm not talking about controlling a little. They totally control it. You can partake in the system of economics and commerce on any level you want to. But them people have the power to make your business obsolete tomorrow if they so choose. They can pass a law that kills your business tomorrow if they so choose. They can initiate new technology that makes your business obsolete tomorrow if they so choose. They can change and tweak the rules however they want at any given time because this is their game. Playing within it is not going to change anything. You are only participating in it. And how stupid can you be to think that you are beating them by playing inside their game? These little $2-3 million you talk about making, these people own the money. They couldn't tell you what they're worth because they don't have a number big enough to describe it. We probably don't have a word because they own the money. If they own it and they have the power to create it out of thin air, they can create the money out of nothing. They have that power, which means they don't have a stated net worth. They don't need it. They don't need it. They own it. You can't make enough money to use that against them. You can't do it.
Your thoughts, guys? What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You know, like he's right. You got to change the narrative. You got to change the system. And it's true. You can't beat them playing the game, playing inside of. That's what I said. You have to change the statutes of the law. You have to get on top of you can begin to make the arrests or the statutes, bring them into accountability by their own statute. You don't play within their rules. You play around and outside of the rules using this. But I always say, unless you have a better system, that's the problem.
Yeah, for sure.
If we had a better system, we would have implemented it. We don't need to be operating. We don't have to. But systematic.
What do you think?
Yeah, well, I certainly see the point in his message. And one thing I can say is that the Democrats and the Republicans have been playing black people for many centuries now. And it is certainly a time that we as a collective group of people should be considering breaking off from these two parties and do the same thing like the economic freedom fighters did down there in South Africa. Now they can have a seat of their own inside the parliament or Congress here in the United States, the way you can come to the table as a collective group of people to make change come about within the system itself. And for way too long, these two parties have been playing us like a game of chess. And we've been the pawns in the chess game, but have not realized this. That's a revolutionary move to be able to do something like that. Because right now, that's all we've been doing is they've been playing us like a game of tennis. We've been batting us back and forth. And they'll put a pacifier in our mouth and make us shut up and go back to sleep. But this is certainly not working on our clock with this generation. And yeah, we definitely need to be able to take a stance. When it comes to the part of reparations, we could possibly get reparations. But don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. Because it could never happen too. At the same time, be realistic about that as well. Because there's a lot attached to that. And when you talk about getting money, that's like a pacifier. So once you do, say if they did give Black Americans, Foundation Black Americans reparations, all they're going to do is raise the prices up on things, the cost of goods to be sold here in the United States. They're going to have more redlining. You ain't going to do nothing but give that money right back to the oppressor, because most Black people, they're going to go out and they're going to buy $300,000 cars. They may buy some property. If you're smart about anytime you buy a tangible asset
Yeah.
like a property, most people don't have enough money to pay for a $300,000-$400,000 house or $500,000 house right up front. So you're going to take and put a portion of that up to purchase the place, but then the rest of it should be banked and went in to go into some type of savings fund in order to. But the truth of the matter, it gets that back down to it. They're going to find some type of way that they can recapture the resource and the people to continue to oppress the people. So you can't really say that reparations is going to be the solution of our problems. So that's why it's taking so long right now to be passed through the Congress right now, or even to get it to the table for them to review it. It's a lot that is attached to that. But yeah, first of all, if we're going to be able to start to begin to make some changes, we're going to have to reconsider our relationship with both the Democrat and the Republican Party. And it may be time for us to cut off ourselves and create our own political party, and let's stand united together with that to see where that goes. So, but yeah, let's just see where it goes.
Brother Eugene, what about you made a statement one time, and I think it was you, about putting that money, having a sense of knowing. I mean, we get awarded millions of dollars and broke within 2 or 3 years. We need economic development. We need train that money and how to use the money that's put into our hands so that we can recoup process. But you made a statement one time, if we got the land, why not? And we were statute that said no taxes on that land. Wasn't that you that made that statement?
Yeah, it was quite a few brothers that have been talking about that conversation. It should be no taxes on the money. It should be if you currently own property in the United States, that debt should be forgiven. Education should be free because our ancestors and our African ancestors built many of these Ivy League schools and colleges that we go to even today, even the historical black colleges and universities in our own communities. They built those institutions. There's a lot that we should consider, but also that money should go offshore. If you know what your DNA is connected to, where your ancestor came from, it should even go offshore to a bank, in an African bank, where you can begin to repatriate and move back to the mother continent if that's something that you want to do. But there's a lot of black people who would be opposed against that too. It's just that we've been so brainwashed and confused over the centuries. It would be hard to even bring that to their attention of what it is that we need to do with our monies and so forth. But yeah, it's a lot that we need to talk about, and certainly we, the generation that have the auspice to even discuss these things that we're talking about now, because our ancestors was even scared to talk about revolution. Only I knew talk about revolution is Hampton with the Black Panther movement. You go back and listen to some of Fred Hampton's speech about revolution. He was on point. That brother was strongly on point with what was needed to be done. But then, like I say, we get to this point where we get these pinnacle moments of white on black and black on white situation, not really getting to the root cause of the problem, but making it a black and white thing instead of to what it really needs to be discussed. Then they put a pacifier in our mouth, and then we going back to sleep. That's what happened after the Trump administration. Black people were very riled up about police brutality here in the United States, and white supremacists acts of violence continuing on black people. So they went out and they voted for Joe Biden, never really looking at the history of Joe Biden's background. And when you really look and dig down in his background, he wasn't at all for black people neither. So don't get it twisted. Neither was Clinton or even JFK, if you even want to go back that far. Lyndon Johnson, he hated Martin Luther King.
We can keep it real. Who gave the Emancipation Proclamation? He really was still racist, and he had some black in his in its bloodline.
But see, many of them don't know that neither. And the little bit of black that a lot of those crackers have, you know, that don't mean nothing to them, because when they're in a power position, they don't even want to recognize that they even have that little bit of percentage in them about that. But then it gets back down to when you talk about now that we're in the era of DNA, when you talk to certain black people, you know, they'll see that they have the majority of their DNA is black African. But then they go to gravitate towards their oppressors' DNA, which only amount to about 10%. Oh, looky here. My background is English and I got some Scottish in me, and don't even realize how you got that little percentage in it. They come off the slave ships with that percentage in you right there. Women being raped, brought up to the top of the ships and being raped and thrown back down into cellars, you know, and it ain't nothing to be proud of. You know, but they get proud of that more than they proud of their African DNA. So I see that a lot with the conversations that I have with people, even about their personal aspects of where their ancestral lineages come from. And when you say, when you tell them, well, why don't you feel the same passion about your African DNA that you do with that white DNA that you have in you? They can't even tell you, can't even give you an answer, because they glorify that. And so for us as a new breed leader, African generation, yeah, we're trying to get past the concept of colorism, but there's a whole lot to get past that first right now, because we need to put ourselves in a position where we can heal ourselves both mentally and physically, and breaking off those chains that have captured our minds for so many centuries. And once we are able to do that, then we can move into a higher realm of leveling ourselves up as a people. But for right now, you know, just from where we are living at here in the United States, and those black people who have been oppressed over on the continent of Africa, we have to put ourselves in a mind of unification. And this is certainly what these conversations and debates that we have about one another, about our culture, come into play. So I certainly salute you brothers for being conscious enough to be able to discuss things of this nature, because there are many brothers and sisters, they care nothing about the conversations, but yet they endure the hardship and the experience every day and can't figure out where the hardship and the experience is coming from. And we have to get to the root of the problem to be able to solve the problem. Yes, sir. So Black Power.
And I don't mean no disrespect to anybody here, but I want to be absolutely honest now. Anybody in Africa who is not a black African is an invader or an opportunist, or the child of an invader or an opportunist. There's only one African, and that's the black African. There is no other one. I don't care how long your people been here. They're not indigenous to this country. You are a visitor. And the problem with Africa, we're the only people who will let aliens come into our house without giving them rules of conduct. They will come to Africa and treat it like it's their own. Look at you like you don't belong there. Now, in America, we are a numerical minority. In America, the African is only about 15% of the entire country. We are a numerical minority. In the United Kingdom, a numerical minority. In Asia, in Canada, a numerical minority. But nothing bothers me more than to come home to Africa and see where we are a numerical majority treated like a minority.
Uh-huh. What about that?
And that's where we are today. That's where we are today. You know,
well, you know, Brother Umar, he gonna definitely lay it down to you for sure.
I went to Washington, the U.S. African Trade and Investment Summit. While I was privileged to be able to slide over to the U.S. leadership and speak a little bit with them over in Washington Plaza Hotel. But there was, and I respect the comment, how can a people so rich be so poor? That was, how can a people with a continent as rich as and still be so poor. And until we begin to make the necessary changes to bring about um, and to bring our oppressors into a place of accountability, begin to set the fear of God in their life. We got to be in a position in their life so that they're knowing who we are.
Can you guys hear me?
I'm still here.
Amen.
Oh,
Amen.
okay. Yeah, I think
I must have
yeah, okay.
went. But yeah, I was saying I look forward to that, where we can, put the fear of God into them. It's like, well, what way can we do that? Well, we use the statutes of the law that is ours, that they've been using against us, that they've been claiming was theirs, when in fact, it's not their law, it's our law. We have to reclaim and redeem ourselves by using what was ours to bring about fear in their life, to let them know, okay, and I can honestly say, having traveled the world, knowing my DNA, knowing that I'm 27% Nigerian, but I come after that with Congo, Dominican and Republican of Congo, Benin and Togo, and uh, Mali, and yes, Kenya. I'm like, and the Butu people. Okay, I'm with that. I walk around with my bangle on, because that's where my heart
Kenyan,
is.
eh?
That's right. That's where my heart is. I'm operating on Kenya time right now. I'm supposed to be in the bed sleep. So, and truth be told, like, I'm getting ready to pack up because I'm sitting here at my mother's, and she's listening in on our conversation. But truth be told, with everything that's in me, when I sit back and I look at everything that's going on over in Kenya, and I look at everything that's going on in Tanzania and all of the different countries, even with friends that I have who are involved in different international organizations, I sit back and I say, there's so much more that we can do. We have to do. But we first have to learn to unite. We first have to find the pulse that's beating and feeding the beast and cut that bloodline off. Put it to sleep. You know, uh, in martial arts, they got a move where when you cut off the carotid artery going from the body to the neck to the head, that carotid artery in the neck, and you cut it off, you put a person to sleep. Well, that's what we got to do. We got to let them know, we know what your carotid artery, what it is, and we know where it is. And right now, until we begin to spank them with their own statutes and their own laws, and begin to deal with the issue of financial accountability, we're not hurting them. We got to hurt them where it counts.
And you got to hit that pocketbook.
You know that's right.
That's what
And
hurt
once
them
we
most.
get the pocketbook and we get the land, then we can get to stepping. Now, I'm not going to take anything away from some of the white oppressors. I look at some of the constructions, even with our Arab brothers in the United Arab Emirates. Man, the architects, their designs, it's out of the world. We need to have that universally. Because I was talking to someone in my Kenya hometown. I said, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to come there and have to squat down in a hole in the floor to go and defecate. We got modern technology. Let's use
That's
it.
right. And that's been around for a long time now. And there's no sense that wouldn't exist right now in many of the African nations. And when you talk about United Arab Emirates, that's exactly what it is. United
Arab. That's right.
United Arabs built the United Arab Emirates. So
right.
yeah, you see
And
that
the
modern
United,
technology, and that should be taking place right now with United
Africa.
Africans
That's right.
can do that as well.
And we have an
Let's get on it,
organization.
brothers.
We have an organization, right, Brother Eugene? The
That's
United
right.
African organizations.
Well, the AU is supposed to be for that, but the AU is a puppet. And that's what we talked about a little while, because really we were supposed to be taking that trip to the AU to speak with them about a lot of stuff coming up in March, because they had the General Assembly. But when many of our brothers and sisters reached out to them several months ago saying, hey, you know, as for us being a part of the 6 Region Initiative, we certainly want to be at the table to discuss, to be able to sit in and listen and discuss what it is that we can do as from the Afro diaspora standpoint of view. And hey, man, they didn't even want to sit down and talk with us, bro. So that lets you know who's behind the scene with all that too. So, but we're going to make our own moves because we don't need them to make moves these days. And that's where technology come in. And they messed up when they made this technology, because now we have the necessary resources to do what it is that we want to do without having those folks who oppose what we want to talk about and discuss. We can get around that these days. So let's do that. That's a start right there for revolution.
That's absolutely true. I think that we have a lot of things in the space or in the place that we did not put together there. So one of them is African Union, as you were saying, and we can definitely not allow that to happen or to stop us. So the problem I think we as people we are facing always is about unity. I don't think we understand the power behind the unity. Maybe in the future discussion, we're going to be talking about why a lot of people does not identify themselves with Black or African. And when we talk about, you talk about the liberation movement, how many, I'm asking Brother Eugene, how many Black people do you think they are willing to touch in their pocket to finance African liberation? How many do you think? Huh?
Well, I can certainly tell you this. I can't say about the Africans on the continent, but Africans in America are certainly ready. All we have to do is know that we have a position to do so. And it's even hard to identify that here in the United States sometimes, but I can at least tell you this: 85% to 90% of African living here in the United States, they're ready for that change, brother. So I can tell you that for sure. Now, as what our brothers and sisters on the continent, if y'all ready to join us, hey man, we can build us our own United African Emirates in Africa. We just have to know that you guys are ready as well. Black power.
Thank you so much. So I think we're gonna end our panel discussion. It's been 2 hours already. So unless there is any comment, you guys, I want to give each one of you guys 1 or 2 minutes to wrap up.
Well, I just want to say it's been a very interesting discussion, one that gives a lot of food for thought, and like anything, it's the foundation, it's the beginning. Now the next step is to take note of what's been said and to begin to outline a direction for us to move forward so that we can, again, move methodically with determination and impact. But let us do it in love.
That's what's up, brother. Thank you for that words of wisdom. And for me to end it out, I just like to say we just have to remain strong and resilient. We are a people that have gone through a lot, both physically and mentally. And this dialogue that we have today is about the beginning of a healing process for us. And as we begin to discuss some of the things that are have been penetrating our minds, we become revolutionarized, and it's a form of independence, and it's a form of healthy debate. And that's what's needed today in order to bring about change. So I just say, let's keep our heads up. Let's keep our eyes on the prize, like Dr. Martin Luther King once told us. And certainly we are headed in the right direction. One love and Black power. And I look forward to being fellowshipping with you guys in the future.
Thank you so much, Brother Eugene and Brother Bishop Williams. So now you talk about Martin Luther King. By the way, a lot of people do not know this. Martin Luther King was supported by Freemasons and some other white people because Black people rejected him. The Black church rejected him. All the civil rights or grassroots organization, they rejected Martin Luther King. Now they are talking like, oh, he was our church, you know. But actually, they did not want to support him or to deal with him at all. So what am I saying here is that when it's boiling, no one wants to stand with you. But if you go through, then everyone wanna be your brother and your sister. Everyone wanna take picture with you as well. So that's why actually I was saying why a lot of people don't identify themselves with Africa or Black. You will hear I'm Puerto Rican, you know, I'm Latino, I'm mixed. I'm mixed with Indians. I'm Mons. What is that? Moorish, whatever the hell it is that. I'm Hebrew Israel. I'm this and that. They don't want to say they are from Africa, you know. So and the problem is because we got nothing to offer to them at all. So we have to fight until when people can identify themselves with us. So now I want to tell you about next week. Next week we're gonna be able to talk. We're gonna be talking about why anytime, special Western countries when they invite Africa or they want to talk about Africa, they do not involve Black people, special Black people in America. Why? We're gonna be looking into that. Why it is that? Why don't they want Black people in America to be involved or to be invited on table while they are discussing about things that deal with Black people, which Black people in America specifically, they are part of African family, or they are our African family as well. So that being said, I do appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for today. I will see you on Saturday at 6 p.m. in East US time. The topic, you already hear that. I will try to see if I can get a special guest who is more in politics and stuff, who can elaborate this for us. But also tomorrow, which is Sunday, here at 6 p.m. we will be having panel discussion. Most of the time, this is going to be focused in Kiswahili and other problems Kiswahili language may have. So thank you so much and have a nice evening or have a nice night. I don't know what time you guys you got.
Thank you, Brother Marty.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, you did.
Yeah, I was just saying thank you, Brother Marty, and look forward to meeting with you again soon.
All right.
One love, brothers.
One love, brother. I'm looking for introduction of the Swahili training online, but there's nothing like actual proper training. So I was gonna, since in March, I was going to attend their school Swahili.
Yeah, there is a Swahili class on Zoom, I believe, and also there is a Swahili on YouTube. I have a lot of friends of mine who are doing Swahili classes. In Ethiopian Swahili community, we also used to have a class, but we stopped. But in our Telegram group, there is always teachings going on. So yeah, definitely there is a lot of resources about Swahili. If you want me to plug you in, you are welcome. But I think also I'm gonna be doing a live class Swahili class on live myself. I'm just trying to organize my home to make good studio so that I can teach, because that's what I've been doing. I've been teaching Swahili here, so I can teach, and it's gonna be good and clear. So but for now, I think I can just give you information about other places where you can learn Swahili on Zoom.
That would be great. If you could shoot me those, we appreciate it. And if you could make it available to the community, it, much more exciting, because then to bring more people in to learning the national language, have a group where we can converse ourselves among learning.
Yeah, also I'm gonna connect you with SUSA. SUSA is Swahili Society of America. It's run by it's an organization run by my friend who lives in Maryland. So I'll connect you with him too. I think. Yeah. Do you ever hear about them?
I'm familiar, because SUSA isn't that the same principle that the cycle of giving and it circulating, something else?
No. This is an organization of Swahili Society America. Yeah, so they only do things that deal with Swahili, actually, events. I think they are teaching Swahili too as well. In around Maryland, they are living. My friend, he lives in Lockville, and actually he's coming to Africa very soon. I think maybe next week or 2 weeks. So his name is Libe. I will connect you with him so he can possibly, maybe there is a Swahili class in America as well. I definitely believe there must be a Swahili class on Zoom in America too. But I will give you another contact too, another Zoom where they teach Swahili from UPAM, United Pan-African Movement. They do teach Swahili on Zoom as well.
Okay. I want to be able to see my Kiswahili.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I say that right?
I didn't hear
did I say that right? Nina Sima Kiswahili. I speak Swahili.
Yeah, sema Kiswahili.
Yeah, Kiswahili
is good, but it's not really good. Kusema means is say. So if you say I say Kiswahili is not correct one. If you say I say English is you see it's not the right one, is it, Eugene? Can you say I say English?
English?
Yeah, I say English. No, you say I speak English.
Right.
I speak English.
Right.
Yes. So nina ongea Kiswahili.
Ongea.
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 Yeah. Kuongea is the verb. Ku is infinitive, which is to in English.
Mm-hmm.
So nina ongea Kiswahili.
Gotcha.
And the key it means a language, by the way. Yeah, so in Kiswahili or in Swahili, if you want to say English, you say Kiingereza. If you want to say French, you say Kifaransa. If you want to say Kispanish. So the key is replacing a language.
Right.
Yeah, in English, they just say Swahili, but it's supposed to be Kiswahili because it's a language. Yes.
Right, because every time I was going through I don't have my book with me. It was like the key English or King
Kiingereza,
right?
Yeah.
Kiingereza. So, and I was like, and that's English? Okay.
Yeah, it is English. Kiingereza. Ninaongea Kiingereza. And
right.
America is called Marekani.
Right.
Yeah, that's how we say America.
Marikani.
Well, let's say this for now. Tuka
Okay,
Famoja, we are together. And I'll see you guys on the next. I'll see you guys on the next conference call.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much, brother.
All right, and let's
All
say
right, one love.
Tunani Badai. Kwahe.
Tuonane baadaye. Kwahe.
Asante.
Yeah, Rafiki.
One love, brothers.
Baruch Ata Adonai. Baruch Rabba Yerushalayim. Baruch Ata Adonai. Baruch Rabba Yerushalayim. From the Bible to the Quran, Revelation in Jerusalem, Shalom, Salam Alaikum. You can see Christians, Jews and Muslims living together and praying, Amen. Let's give thanks and praises. Baruch Ata Adonai. Baruch Rabba Yerushalayim. Baruch Ata Adonai. Baruch Rabba Yerushalayim.
Alelele mama, amalala lelele. Oh, shake it for Africa, do it for Africa. Mama, oh lelele mama, oh shake it for Africa. Oh, you rise up and stand up for Africa.
See the whole world be looking at us, yeah, cause our land is honey, all the future money, and see now, see Akijima. No, I see Lali. See Sandy Mali. They want it,
Let's hold hands and let us dance. Let's unite and give ourselves another chance. I see the walk out for road, you see many things, everything they happen, people they jolly. Oh yeah, now let Africa be good. And in the sun or the rain or the sweet and the pain, we still they get together. Because let Africa be good. Oh, Nelson Mandela, Lupita Nyong'o, oh Desmond Tutu, let Africa be good. Oh Barack Obama, Kwame Nkrumah, all my freedom fighters.
You know what time it is. Let's go. Come on. Africa stand up. Everybody move. Make a see your hands up. We came a long way, so now we can't stop. Free for life. We're taking off the handcuffs. We came to spread love through the sea breeze. Natural, Mama Africa. We need peace. Home sweet home. Everybody for feel free. Check my people. Check the beauty. Me my duty. We're trying to make it a better place for us, and I believe it's gonna happen. In God we trust. Straight from the bottom all the way up to top. I prophesy it shall come to pass. Amen. From dust to grass, from grass to grace. But it's left to us to make it happen on a daily basis. Back to back. Africa stand for peace. Let's face the fact.
Tanzania, asante Nyerere baba, tunajivunia upendo wetu na amani.